I'm trying to hear you from a different source.
Where's your earphones?
That's what I'm actually. I'm putting on a what do you call a speaker.
Earpod. Oh.
I wanted to go onto the speaker here.
And be nice to me.
What do you mean be nice to you, Vicky? Come on. I'm nice. There we go. Are you there?
Right? Yeah.
Yes. So this is where I'm hearing it from, and I was hoping to be able to record it on another. Yeah. Sorry. The problem now is my lighting, but as long as you are fine, I can
But
be
I can see
fine.
you. You're looking more handsome than yesterday.
Really?
Mhm. I think this fatherhood has changed you.
It's changed me. It's supposed to. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just fatherhood. It's the sun, man. So I've been a father for a while. It's just that the sun now, the sun.
But I think that this one is a bit late, man, isn't it? This one is a bit late.
The boy.
Yeah.
No.
Kanya, what's his name? Kanya.
Kanya, yes.
Ah, I remember. You see, I remember.
Let me close this door. Maybe. Okay. I think the light is all good. Is it fine, this light?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so here we are. We are on Chess and Chats, and we are currently speaking to Mr. Vicky Magu, Vice President of Chess South Africa, Vice President 2, and obviously President of Gauteng Chess, and a lot more. Obviously, there's a whole lot more positions that you feel in. Mr. Magu, welcome. Thank you for having the chat with me.
Thank you for having me, Eddie.
No, it's all a pleasure. It's all a pleasure. Where do we start? So much to talk about. I mean, let's see. Let's start with something light, like the junior closed. You obviously in the what do we call it? The you are the vice president responsible for youth chess, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, and the junior close is coming up
Correct.
very soon. When again? I think is it in March or April?
March. It's in March. Yeah. So I'm not really involved with the junior close. The LOC is made up of Northwest, and the CHESSA reps have not been appointed as yet because of the elections coming up.
Mm.
So remember that if even if I serve on that board now, the new executive have the right to then just remove me because they can replace me with anyone. So because you'll have a new VP2 coming in, so so
Okay.
it doesn't make sense for me to be involved now.
Yeah.
When that's gonna change in 3 weeks' time.
But then now again, can we just touch a bit on the selections? You obviously been involved with the creation of the selection policies, the
Yes, yes,
players that get
yes.
invited and so forth. Because I'm hearing stories about
Yes.
the apparently there used to be the top 10 in the Mzansi Interprovincial that get selected, and if the top is it the top five or the top 10? And it says
Top
if
five,
if the
top
top
five,
five, yeah, top five,
top
and if
five.
it happens that
Yeah.
they have already qualified through other means, then the next five players would be selected from there. Is that does that still
The
apply?
next player on the list will be selected. Correct. Yeah.
The best, sorry.
The next player on the list, on the ranking list, will be selected.
So that's basically how it's still being applied.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So for
players.
example, if you have players who qualified, yeah. Okay.
So yes, no, of course. I'm just checking. Is it still
Okay.
possible for players to qualify and participate in the junior closed without having gone to the Mzansi to participate without having participated in the Mzansi inter provincials?
Yeah, yeah. Look, your top 20 on Grand Prix and then your top 15 on rating doesn't have to play in Mzansi because they automatically qualify for the close anyway.
Yeah, and
So that group of players then automatically qualifies. Yeah.
And the only way for players who have not qualified through that to make it through the closed is to come up in the top five of the what of the Mzansi, the
of the
individuals.
Mzansi
Individuals.
individuals, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. All right. No, that's perfect. So, but then since you say you're
And
not that
then
much
there's
in.
also, yeah, then there's also the route where council amended the policy where provinces can nominate
Mm.
one player, one a player per gender
Yes.
to qualify for the close as well, which gives you like 14 per province in each
Okay.
age group. So there's 7 age groups that gives you 14 players. So a province can nominate 14 players.
Each province can
But the
nominate
criteria,
each.
correct,
So
each province can nominate.
are you saying that Mpumalanga can nominate players to participate in the closed?
Yes, they can. Of course, they can. But there's a criteria. The player must have participated in the team event at Mzanzi.
Yes.
The player must have played the team event in Mzanzi, and the player must have played 30 rated games. So
No, this.
there is a criteria to it.
Oh no, but that's interesting because I mean I wasn't even aware of that. Our provinces are aware that they can nominate
Yeah.
players that can come and, and represent because there are provinces that are not represented in the closed. I've seen the list of invitations, and it looks like I mean some players some provinces only have two players who have qualified through all the other means.
Okay, so that will change. They've just sent two players in, but we've now sent out the communication with the center
Mm.
to select your players from. So all the players who played in the team event who qualify on that criteria is on the list and it's sent out to the provinces.
Okay. Oh no, this is awesome. I think this is something for
Yeah,
provinces to look into and give our players these opportunities. I think this is a
yeah,
great
yeah,
thing.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. All right. Now on to the senior closed. Your Gauteng is hosting the closed. It's hosting the senior closed very soon. 21st of
Yes,
February.
correct. We are hosting it 21 February to 1 March. It's going to be hosted at Alex Forbes in Santon.
Yes. Now, again, the date. How did you come how did you decide on the date? Because it's not in the holidays. I mean, like I'm not even sure if that's how. Because I've seen I think a communication from was it from I think Dr. Lyndon Bauer, CM Lyndon Bauer, where he was questioning the selection of the date and how it came about. Did that letter reach your um,
Yes, of course. We looked at it, and remember, we also have to liaise with the venue. You know, the
yes.
availability of venue.
Yes.
Secondly, is that we looked at it that kids are going back to school in the second week of January, and for them, and remember, bear in mind that 50% or 60% of the close is juniors. They still at school.
The senior close, the open close, yes. Mm.
So these kids just go back to school, and then they cannot take immediately after that, another 10 days off. So we had
Yeah.
to give it that period. That was one of the things we looked at, and then the other thing was we had to look at the availability of the venue,
Yes.
which we had to have before March, between January and March, and that's the best time we got because to find venues is very difficult. It's very
Yeah.
difficult,
No, but I understand there
and
is
for us
there
to
was
get
also
the venue.
an offer to assist in terms of venues. So you do not trust that a man in the Western Cape can assist you in finding venues in Gauteng.
No, 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 no. They can't. Trust me, they can't find venues in Gauteng. I know every venue in Gauteng. You know, whether it's government
Mm.
or the private sector. I mean, we know all the people. So that was the best possible time we could get it. And remember, this is a international. It's a national tournament for
Yes.
international participation. And in any country, and I understand the dynamics of South Africa. But if you look at the other players that are playing, they are coaches.
Yes.
Some of them are coaches. I think there's maybe one or two that's full time employed, but by and large, they are coaches and
Mm.
juniors.
So what will you, as the host or as Chess South Africa, do to compensate the players for their was it the lost in and the loss of earnings or the number of days that they'll have to sacrifice in order to attend this event? Because I mean, this event usually doesn't even have prizes, eh? So now it's just like it costs you even more now to fight for a sport to represent your country would cost you in lost earnings and then obviously in the amount that you pay to travel to participate in the event, even in the selections.
Yeah, look, Eddie, in the past, you would know that there was no compensation, there was no funding for the players, which
Yeah.
really is said. Uh, and I'll touch on the funding part later. That South Africa is going to get. But I do agree with you. Yes, there should be some compensation. But if the funding is there, I'm sure South Africa will make it available.
Yeah.
These people get nothing. Going back to the coaches, a loss of income. I think these coaches during the afternoons off or mornings off, they still do coach.
They
So
still
it's
do.
not a total loss of income. But I
Yeah.
also understand the expense of traveling, like from Cape Town to here. Like
Mm.
last year, we had to send three players down to Cape Town. At their own cost. So it is expensive either way you look at it. But you're playing for your country. You're playing for a sport to represent your country. So I think the sacrifice, sometimes has to be there.
Now, I mean, we've we've seen a number of times. I mean, we've always been crying about this as the chess community. That for chess, it's always expensive for you to represent your country. It costs you. It costs the parents. It costs the players themselves. And we thought the introduction, because we've seen a number of times Minister Gayton McKenzie appearing in CHESSA events, like your SA Open and your which other event, I think was the Mzansi Interprovincial. Has that provided any? I don't know. Has it made any difference? Has there been any contribution? Did we get the 1 million that he promised? What changes did it bring about? Him coming in, appearing, and speaking to the CHESSA community, making all statements and so forth, and seeing how things are done, and obviously also accepting and acknowledging the fact that it's Chess South Africa has been run in the backs of parents and players themselves.
Yeah, yeah. No, look, he's made some promises. The 1 million, I know that Andre is busy with DSEC at the moment. He did have a meeting with the minister about a month back
Mm.
on that, and they are working on that. But that money is then earmarked for a mass a mass participation event. Excuse
Okay.
me. So
Nice.
he's specific about how the money must be used.
When,
But I also believe that there should be money made available for other things as well in there. Your junior clothes should be subsidized. Your SA clothes should be subsidized, and so on. The other thing is, I think Chess South Africa at the moment is thinking about prize funds. They're
yeah.
looking at what's available, what funding there is, and for the first time, I think that thought has come about to say, can't we pay out some prize fund? Maybe make 25,000 or 30,000 available for the players, and maybe in that way we'll compensate for some of the losses.
Yeah.
So that is a thought process at the moment to try and put up some prize funds.
Nothing finalized with less than a month to go.
It's in its final stages. We're also looking. Remember, there are other costs involved, associated costs with the event as well.
Mm.
There's your arbiters and all that need to be paid and accommodated and so on. So we're in liaison with all parties. AOC, Expo is discussing and so on.
No, but it's crazy
So
though.
we're
Like,
looking at all options to
yeah,
try and
I
make
mean,
this as feasible as possible.
why has anyone ever considered this? That instead of compensate, because it seems like we put more respect on the arbiters than we do on the players, which is not really that bad. But isn't it unfair the fact that the arbiters who will be working on the SA closed will get compensated, whereas the players themselves will not? Can't then
But
you find voluntary arbiters who can volunteer to run the event, and at least now some of the costs go to subsidizing the players instead of the officials? Come on.
look, we're talking about this. We're looking at arbiters who are seeking norms. We are telling the AOC they must subsidize. Any arbiter who is coming must then contribute towards his expenses because he's coming for a norm. So all those discussions are taking place at the moment. It's not just South Africa just paying for everything at the moment. So there are those discussions.
Okay. All right. No, I think that's a plus. That's a positive. Hopefully, then the players will get compensated, and the winners at least would also get some cash prizes with this. Now,
Yes, yes, of course. We're pushing for that.
yes. Now, onto the elections. I remember I made a video last time saying that you were nominated. I think I don't know if that was well, you appeared in one of the slates as being nominated for a vice president again, and it turns out that when the final nomination list
Let
appeared,
me just say, Eddie, you said you. In your last podcast, you said you got 80% correct, 20% wrong, and I was at 20%.
Of course. Now, tell us a little bit about that, please. What happened? Did you change your mind? Did you decide? Were you nominated and then you turned down the nomination and then didn't accept it, or what? Really, what went on? What?
Yes, of course. I was nominated by two provinces besides Gauteng. If Gauteng did, it would have been three. But I was nominated and seconded by two other provinces. But I turned it down because in September already I told President Lavak, I said, look, there's a 90% chance I'm not going to stand for elections this coming election.
Yeah.
Because I've already earmarked what I want to do for 2026. For one, I've neglected Gauteng. And my vision for Gauteng is to bring a world event here. And we've been talking about it and discussing it, and I've even spoken to Sean to say, look, we must bring a world event to South Africa, Gauteng, preferably. The Commonwealth supposed to come years ago. At the Congress this last year, I pledged to host it in 2027. So all that, takes time. And coupled with that, I serve on five other organizations. So I'm stepping down from two of them to make time for other things.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you.
Uh,
So,
that's why I didn't stand for election now for CHESSA, and I'm also stepping down as vice president of Gauteng Schools in March when they have their election, because I think it's time at this point of my life I need to start mentoring, start building other people to come and take over these positions. We cannot hold positions forever.
no,
So it's
something
time
you
that
said,
new blood coming.
very interesting thing you said just now, that you feel like you've neglected Gauteng, obviously after having taken on the role of vice president of Chair South Africa. Now, which kind of brings me to this point. Remember, there was this clause which stated that if you are elected into the executive committee, the executive board of Chair South Africa, you must obviously resign from your position as yeah, any position below that, obviously. Now, do you know? I want to, because first, when you say you've neglected, it kind of points to the fact. It sounds like you're acknowledging the fact that it's actually too difficult to acknowledge these two very important positions, and obviously, at some point, one of them will be compromised, and you admit that you obviously been compromising Gauteng. But there's also that conflict of interest that is seen throughout. I mean, that you are a member of council as president of the province, and the executive board reports to council, so it's more like you're again reporting to yourself. Why is it that you had not resigned
Yeah,
from
look,
Gauteng? Yes.
uh, Eddie, nothing tells me to resign. There's no constitution.
Mm. Besides obviously the constitution telling you to resign, are you still here, Mr. Magu? Vicky, hello. Oh, it seems like I've lost Vicky. Is it his network or my network? It's his network. Mine is still strong. Hmm. Ah, you've joined in. You've joined from two devices.
No, the same device. I don't know what happened there. We
Oh,
just
it
got
just
cut out. Yeah.
yeah, I kicked out the other one. That's good. That's fine. You're back on. So yes, I understand that nothing tells you to resign, but now obviously
Yes.
understanding these 2 points, the fact that obviously juggling two important positions, two or more, and the fact that it's obviously it presents a conflict of interest in that you have to report to yourself, and others we've seen they nominated
Yeah.
themselves. Things
No,
like
no,
that.
there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, there's no conflict of interest, Eddie. There's no conflict of interest. This has happened for years. It happens at national structures. It happens at in any other country. I've seen it in India. It happens. If you take South Africa for example, SESCOP. A lot of those board members previously were serving on national federations. There was no conflict of interest. It's just that when you go into a meeting, you don't represent your federation. You have to have your delegates there.
Yes.
So it's the same like when President Barry Hendricks, who's now the president of CESCO, was the president of Gauteng Sports Confed, but was also the vice president of CESCO. But when he became president of CESCO, he had to step down because as president, that would have been a conflict of interest. So
Mm.
that's exactly the same here. With Chess South Africa, you go back in time. Aldo Smart was, when he was president of Western Cape, he stepped down. The late Aldo Smart. Winston was president of Eastern Cape at the time. He stepped down, but when he was vice president, he still served on Chess South Africa. So there's no law or constitution that says you must step down.
Yeah.
And as for me, I chose to step down from Chess South Africa this year, this term, because I want to pursue other things as well. With government, we are involved in a lot of government programs. And I've seen last year there are more programs coming in. So that is why I decided, let me rather, concentrate on Gauteng because we're part of all the government programs now. And that will take some time. So I cannot do justice to the position of vice president too if I'm still, going to be president of Gauteng. So and remember, I'm still on the Commonwealth. I'm still in. I'm on Gauteng. I'm in now. I'm involved with the MMC's portfolio committee for sport. So all those roles I've taken on. So I had to step down somewhere.
Yes. No, I understand. But again, I'm just taken back again to that point where in that slip, why is that stated there in that
So I
acceptance of
challenge that.
nomination?
So let me tell you, I challenge that
Mm.
with Advocate Freedom and FIDE. At the time, they put that in, and they only put that as a precautionary measure, but it's not a must. And when I challenged that before the election, I got a response from the elections officer to say it's just a precautionary measure, but it's not something that is in writing or it's cast in stone.
Yeah.
So hence that, yeah, because if it was, they would have then come up and say, look, you guys must step down now. This is law, or this is cast in stone.
Yes.
But it's not. You can be the president of a province and still serve but you cannot serve as a president of the province and president of CHESSA. That
Okay.
is where the line is drawn.
Now, Vicky, you've mentioned you're now speaking about your involvement with all the other with the Commonwealth, with the government. There are a lot of now. Is it you just said the MEC as well? And I'm just wondering, because maybe again there are things that we are not aware of as a chess community. What colors again? We see the difference that brings in Gauteng. But then now you were vice president of Chess South Africa for the past 2 years. Have you been able to bring in any of those connections to benefit chess in South Africa, chess South Africa as a structure or the entire country instead of just because you were not when you were in the executive board, you're not just serving Gauteng, you're serving the whole nation.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, of course, Eddie. Let me just say for Gauteng, we get funding from government for capacity building. We get funding for programs, but there's certain compliance that has to be met. And
Hmm.
Gauteng meets all those compliances. Just like Chess South Africa, you got a good standing criteria. So there are those compliances. But many times I've said we must have a boss barat or something like that, where we have a provincial get together where we can have these 3 day seminars where we can present. And I've said it in many meetings, in expo meetings, guys. We get funding. We can do I think Lyndon Bower did a seminar on funding as well at one stage with the expo
Yes.
or with the council. So that has been done. But yeah, I'm prepared to share my knowledge with anyone. I've shared it with Northern Cape. I share a lot with Northern Cape. They've asked me. So any province that comes and ask, and I've offered, and I think that I've offered many other provinces. I said, let's meet this person, let's meet that person, and they don't come forth. Let's meet your sports confed president, or let's meet people in government. But I think a lot of these provinces are like it's business as usual.
Yeah, but again, I'm
But we
speaking to
take
you
it
now
very
as
serious.
vice president of Chess South Africa, who was a member of the executive board. So, if isn't that wasn't that something within your scope of responsibilities and duties as a member of the executive board? Doing that,
Not really.
we
No,
understand the
no, it
challenges
wasn't
that
my
sometimes.
responsibility. The funding,
Mm.
yeah.
No, no,
But the funding part,
I'm listening.
yeah. Look, the funding part is a different kettle of fish altogether. It's a different program. I can do that as part of what I know, what I've, or my experience, and what we get, and how to go about it. Because you get so many tiers of funding, and I think provinces are not aware of these tiers of funding, except Western Cape is, because I see they tapping into some of those fundings. But the other provinces are not aware. So, that needs a special indaba or something where you sit, discuss, and you put forward all these ideas, and then you get people form a committee, and you get people to start working on the different various provincial governments.
You know, Vicky,
But
if I
that
can
must come
ask
from
you,
DTech. DTech need to do that.
if I can ask you what difference you've made to Gauteng chess as a president for the past few years, I know there's a long list of things that you will tell me, very impressive things that you've done, that you've told me some of that before, I think in a different interview. But then now, if I were to ask you the same about being a vice president of Chess South Africa, what would you say is the biggest difference that you've made in this role that you've been playing for the past 2 years or so?
Eddie, I'm going to be honest with you. We came in, we took over a chess Africa that was broken, fragmented, in debt, not in good standing, suspended. So in 1 year, nine. Remember that we only got accepted by FIDE in June last year, ratified by
Yes.
FIDE.
Mm.
So that was the official ratification by FIDE where they recognized Chess South Africa, and I think it was in April we got accepted as a full member by CESCO. So there wasn't much time. You basically got under 2 years, and you're playing catch up. You're fixing up. You're basically building blocks again. You're starting from the foundation. Remember, there was no bank accounts.
Vicky, are you here?
Yeah, way back, right?
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, so it was just a period of fixing and trying. You remember we inherited R1 million debt that we owed FIDE. There's court cases going on with Hendrik not paying the lawyers. The lawyers now suing Chess South Africa for $500,000. All that kind of stuff. So it was just a rat race trying to fix things and try not to get suspended again. Try to cover your debt and be in good standing with SASCOC and so on. And coupled with that, I don't think we had a very strong expo to start off with. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll touch on that later. Yeah.
You don't think you
So
had a.
all those, it doesn't give you time to really. I think one term of a year and 6 months doesn't do justice to anything.
Hmm.
You can't really. You're just fixing and basically building.
Now, that's an interesting thing. You just mentioned Hendrik, and I'm just wondering, have just I think there's a lot of things that are left. Because number one, have you been able to, as the executive board of Chess South Africa, retrieve any funds that were in the previous chess? In fact, have you been able to gain access to the previous Chess South Africa bank accounts that were being used by Hendrik's executive board? Hello, hello, Vicky.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm back here. Yeah.
Yes, yes. No, you mentioned Hendrik and the debt and the millions and so forth. Now I actually just raised the question in my head. Like, has this executive board been able to access to gain access to the previous banking account that we use? Because I think after this new executive board came on,
Not
you
at
guys
all.
opened
In
a new
fact,
bank
what happened
account.
was, yeah. Look, there were engagements with him to hand over the bank accounts and so on. And obviously, he played politics. One meeting and then the next meeting, he walked out and he closed all the bank accounts.
Yes.
So there was nothing handed over. Basically,
No
we
assets,
started with no bank account.
no equipment, electronic chess boards. I
Nothing,
believe there's.
nothing, absolutely nothing, nothing.
But then why is it something that chess in South Africa is this something that should be let like we let lie like sleeping dogs, or is it something that should be pursued actively by chess South Africa?
Look, it can be pursued through the courts. courts, but funding is a problem. When you go to courts, it's expensive. It's an expensive exercise. He left us with $500,000 debt, where he signed a debt form with the lawyers that he employed all these years, and never paid them. And now they're going after Chess South Africa, and of course, all the debt was in the name of Chess South Africa. You know.
Yeah, no, but again, I understand lawyers, but again, equipment isn't there equipment that was bought using Chess South Africa money or equipment that
We have
was
no proof
donated
of that.
that was
That's a
given to
problem.
Chess South Africa by FIDE? Like I know in some federations, every now and then they get electronic boards, DGT boards, and things like that.
We have no proof of anything to put claims in. That's a problem.
No proof of anything. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Chess South Africa has been finessed by. All right. So anyway, geez, like you just mentioned the executive. This is interesting point that you said you didn't have a very strong executive board this term. What exactly do you mean by that?
Look, I think the board we had uh, were very, very inexperienced.
Yes, it's true.
You take some of these people came from the district straight to national, not even provincial.
Mm,
They
mm.
came from a district, and some of them weren't even in those structures,
Yes.
and they were elected straight into a national board. So that's what you get. You then sit and there's no experience, no knowledge, and you grapple with things, and that's how you carry on. But they've been elected, so you can't do anything.
Hey, okay. But then now, isn't there a, or is it something? Is it something that's not? Isn't this, there supposed to be? What do we call this? What do we call it? A wait, a capacitating type of workshop for the new executive board that comes in that is meant to be provided to obviously those inexperienced but elected members.
Look, Eddie, I don't think your capacity must start at national level. It must start
Mm-hmm.
at district level. Where you serve your district, and this should be the case. And this is how we do it in Gauteng. If you want to come up into the provincial structure, you must serve in your district structures before you come up here. And that's a norm with us. It's not in writing, but it's a norm where we say we want people who know what they're doing, who's got the experience, who's worked at district level, who can come up and contribute.
Yeah.
But you can't come from nowhere, and what do you contribute? You contribute nothing. You sit there, you're a passenger. You get carried by others, you know.
That's true. That's the case. So now, again, let's move on to this elections. I noticed, I think a few things that I've noticed. One is that I did not see any nominations from the Western Cape. I did not see any nominations from Pumalanga, nominations from. Is it, what would you say, are all these provinces in good standing with Chess South Africa and will they be able to vote in the next elections? That includes Northern Cape as well. I think I didn't see any nomination from them, but I've seen someone nominated from that side.
Well, let me say, Expo is having a meeting tonight, actually, for the good standing to review all the good standing. It's supposed to be done a week ago, but we've given provinces some time to still submit documents.
Okay.
Uh, so that will be done tonight. As for Western Cape, I know the president resigned. There's an interim board in Western Cape. They are busy getting their stuff ready for submission.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what happens there. Ruben is the interim president there, and he's busy working very hard on getting everything sorted out. So let's see if they
As
make it.
interim president, will he vote? Does he have a right to vote as interim president?
That will be up to the constitution what it says. The
Okay.
constitution will dictate who votes and who doesn't vote.
The South African constitution, right?
And no, the Western Cape constitution.
Okay. All right, because of it represents
Yeah.
the member. Okay. All right. Now,
Mpumalanga, I cannot speak. I don't know anything about Mpumalanga, so I have no idea.
mm, no one does. I also don't know anything about Pumalanga, and I can't say anything about Pumalanga. Now, again, it comes back the strength of the executive committee, the executive board of Chess South Africa, and how it affects the obviously the work to be done or your ability to work and obviously complete your work. When we look at the nominated candidates for this year, I actually want to hear your opinion. For president, who would you say is a fitting candidate between Andre Levax, Sean Leviton, and Ninawa Peter?
Let me take them one by one. Let me start with the sitting president,
Yes.
uh, Andre. Like I explained, he inherited a dismantled, fragmented federation,
Yeah.
and he had to then work very hard to try and put things together. Like I also said, inexperienced expo and manage that, coupled with the FIDE debt and all other things that comes with it, court cases and so on.
Hmm.
So it's not easy for a president to come in and just take over and start doing those things. Like I said, you're playing catch up, you're fixing. There's nothing much you can do in a year and 6 months.
Yeah.
Uh, and having said that, uh, I think he deserves another chance. Yes, he's made mistakes, make no doubt about that. He's made mistakes,
Hmm.
uh, and he's learning, from his mistakes. So I think, given a second chance, I think he would do much better. And he's a guy who's very passionate, you know. But with the right team, if he has the right team behind him, I think, if the head is strong and the body is weak, it doesn't function.
Yeah, that's true. But
And vice versa.
yeah, again, if the head is weak and the body is strong, again, it's still not very. Uh, I don't know if
But
this
the
approach is
body,
right.
but here's the thing, Eddie, the body can then rally around him and assist him and guide him,
Mm.
because that's what makes a good president. It's not the president don't have to be utter brilliant, but if he's got a good around him, he will do well, because if he listens to his team, and you will take it from politics, even the MEC or the premier, they've got advisors,
Yes, of course.
that advise them, and that is what your expo is. Your expo are basically advisors to the president.
Mm.
So they must guide him and sort of put him on the right path.
But the president doesn't
Sometimes,
choose those advisors.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he deserves a second chance. I would say, because I've worked with him, I know his passion, and he's done. That he's brought freestyle. Well, this freestyle came to South Africa. He's made things happen in Cape Town for the underprivileged kids. Magnus went to different places. They had some mules there and so on. He's made all this happen. So he's done good things. Let's not just throw him under the bus. The guy's done good things. Yes, he's got a lot to learn as well. He's got a lot to improve, and I think he will get there with the right team. Let's go to Sean Leviton.
Yes.
He will be equally as good. Sean will make a good president,
Mm.
no doubt about it. Sean is a guy who's a stickler for protocols, processes. He's a guy who don't need any pushing. He wants things done correctly, and I think you've seen his work ethic. At the African Youth, huge mega event. Um he's on the ball. He's
Yeah.
And he brings a different dynamic. He's connected to the corporate world, to FIDE, to Africa. He's now on the ACC. They saw the good in him. They brought him on board, and he's making a difference there. So he would be a brilliant, and it's a voice of reasoning. He's not a guy that gets emotional or anything like that. So he's very calm, and he will work through problems, and he will try and find solutions.
Of course. Okay.
So there's a kind of guy that he is, and I think he'll make a good president as well.
What will be the
Going
challenge
to
of
Mr.
having him? What will be the challenge of having him though, as president?
I think it'll be good for chess. Basically, just good for chess. And like I said, it'll bring different dynamics to chess. I think he's a guy that will rescue chess in the end. You know,
Yeah.
and I think with him and Andre there, you'll have a good. They will support each other well.
But again, you see, you mentioned something about presidents, members of the executive boards coming straight from regions to the national. And Sean is not a. Is he a president of Gauteng? Has been a president of Gauteng, or does he serve in this
No, no, no.
the Gauteng
He's never
structure?
been a president of Gauteng.
But does he
He's
serve
never
in the
been a president of
structure?
Gauteng.
Hmm.
He's been the president of a region.
Hmm.
But the knowledge he has working with Gauteng on events and other things, on government projects, on the Sonchini project with government. He's worked at a provincial level. but on different projects. So he's got that knowledge. Although it's not officially in Gauteng as per se, but he's worked with Gauteng on various projects with government, with you know, and so provincial government, the local government, and so on.
And I think again the AYCC running of other events is also a plus. But
Yeah,
anyway,
and his financial background as well. He's a guy that wakes up and call you at 12 o'clock at night and say, just check. We need to do this. How much is that? Just pay this. Don't worry about this. We've sorted it out. I've calculated already. We okay. Just pay this. He's that type of guy that he doesn't sleep if things are not done.
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, moving on to Ninawa Peter.
Look, I don't know him that well. Uh, I know he comes from NMD. It's Nicole's husband. So I can't say much about the guy. Uh, I know there are issues in NMD going back to the Freddie Odendal era. Those issues are still continuing.
Hmm.
So they've not been resolved. So I think
Okay.
I can't see him. I can't see him leading Chess South Africa. I think he's been with on the board of uh, Joma Mole uh,
The interim.
when they got elected in Durban. Uh, I think it's before or after the IAB, but he was vice president there for a short while. But I don't know if he's the guy that can take Chess South Africa forward. I don't think so. Not in that position now.
No. Okay. Now we're gonna take a while. Let's see. Now for vice presidents, I see we need two vice presidents. There's Lindo Buhle and Gubane. There's Ninawa Peter again, Sean Leverton, Carol Lifiedi, and yeah, just those three, right? It's four of them.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah, four
interesting.
candidates.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, look, I've touched on Sean already. I'm not going to talk about Sean. I think he deserves a space in that top three. There's no doubt about it. Massive, massive. He'll make a massive difference. Uh, Going to Lendo, I think Lendo's a current VP1. Also, maybe a little bit of lack of experience, but a quick learner.
Hmm.
And I think maybe he also deserves another chance to go in uh, for his term to try and prove himself because he's been the VP1 for adult chess, and yes, he's learning, he's finding his feet, but I don't think the guy should be just thrown out. He should be given a second chance to go and prove himself, and I think he can. He is a worker. Let me put it that way. But he just needs to stern up a bit. He just needs to learn a little bit more, and I'm sure he'll be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Going
Awesome. And
to
then there's
Nawa Peter again. Again, I say, not much. Uh, I wouldn't support in that position. My two candidates there would be if I was voting
mm-hmm.
or if I had the mandate to vote.
Yes.
Let me put it that way, which at this point I don't. Would be either Sean and Lando.
Sean and Lindo.
That
Okay.
would be that would be the two. Carol is treasurer at the moment. Carol is treasurer at the moment. I know he's not doing too great in that position. He would like another position, hence he's gone for the vice president's position. But I think the two strong candidates there would be those two I've mentioned.
Oh, are you saying that he's not enjoying his role as treasurer right now, or he's just unable to
Yeah,
fulfill it?
yeah. He made it clear he doesn't want to stand for that role again. He's not up for it.
Oh, okay. Do you know why?
I don't want to comment on that. I really don't want to comment on that.
But
Yeah.
you think you don't wanna, you don't think it has? Is it something recent that made him feel like I don't want to be in this role again, or has it been like that since the beginning? There is.
Look, he has his reasons why he don't want to be there, and I also think I know why, but I cannot comment. I cannot speculate
Yeah.
on why he don't want to be there. But he just made it clear that he would not take the treasurer's position again.
Mm, okay. And now there's what there's the treasurer up for treasurer is Lizelle Boathma and Noloandle Kumalo, right? From the between those two, who would you who would you
Liesel Botma any day,
mm,
any day. I've worked with her on the AYCC. I've worked with her with the SA Open. I've worked with her in Gauteng. She's secretary. Uh, she's an engineer by trade. You know, she's got a financial background. Any day. Nolwandle has got. She's on this board, as a provincial rep. But yeah, like I said in my earlier talk, that we have members that you have to carry. And I think with the new board, you don't want to carry any members. You
Are you
want
saying
members that are
Lolwandle
going to
is one
put
of the
their
members
children
that
to the
you
good.
is being carried?
Eh?
Are you saying Lolwandle is one of the members that is being carried?
I'm not gonna. I'm not. I think you can speculate what I'm saying.
No, I'm just checking.
Or yeah, but what I'm saying is you can't purely on qualification.
Mm.
Liesel Botman
Lizard Bottom. But is she easy to work with for other people? Maybe for
and,
you,
and
yes,
and work ethic and work ethic.
work ethic.
Oh, by the way, she's now moved to the Eastern Cape. She's not Gauteng anymore. She lives in the Eastern Cape now.
Oh, okay. Is she okay? This is good. This is yeah. I don't know, good or bad, whatever. But yeah, no longer is no longer from Devon, Cape Town. Oh, I'm sorry, KZN,
KZN, yeah.
KZN, right? Okay. Now for general secretary, I see there is Chene Jeffries. There's Mr. Mahomula Joe. I think those are the only two candidates.
Yeah, interesting. The young and the old.
So experience versus lack of
Uh,
experience. Which one do we go
or
for?
should I say the bold and the beautiful? Look, I think Shanae is a very young, vibrant young lady.
Yes.
She's a teacher by trade. She's doing well as an acting secretary.
Yes.
Uh, Joe's seen it all. He's going back to the day when he was in adult chess in the time of Emilia and those people. He was vice president of CHESSA, president of CHESSA. He was president of the zone.
Yes,
Now to come back as a secretary, I'm thinking, what do you want to achieve? I think the thing that to say that things are not going right in chess SA is not 100% correct. Yeah, in terms of the secretary, I think the secretary resigned. There was changes. Nicole was the acting secretary at one point. She resigned, and Chennai came in. But I think it's a position where you need someone who's vibrant, young, who can learn, and that's capacity building. You build someone for the
yes.
future. You're not taking someone in that's gonna go out in the next 2 years, and then you look for another secretary.
So you're
So
not in
and take
support
nothing
of
away
Mr.
from Joe, his
Mahomula
experience.
becoming secretary of Chess South Africa?
I can't really see him in that position.
But then
No,
now
he's a senior person. He should be mentoring people. He should be mentoring the youngsters.
I can understand that. But then now looking at the options that we have, right? Looking at that we have, I think the general secretary position is a very powerful position. I remember one lady that used to hold that
No, it is
position so tight, Marcel, is it Marcel Ageles from Western Cape, that kind of
Marcela
that was
Galas was she was brilliant,
the most
brilliant.
brilliant secretary that kind of made. And now after her, I think secretaries have never been really visible. That role seemed to, and I think it's a very powerful position that needs someone with experience, that needs someone that has knowledge of, I don't know whether it's the industry, the field, the chess, the connections, very important. And now when we have
Yeah.
the option between Chine and Chine is very little known. I don't really know much about her. Even now that she's
She's from the Northern Cape. She's from the Northern Cape. She was
mm,
secretary of Northern Cape before she relocated to Gauteng.
yes,
So she's quite a brilliant young lady, and given the chance and things. But like I said, I don't doubt Joe will be good. But I'm just looking at the succession planning. I'm
yes,
looking at the capacity building. Where do we go from there?
yes.
Tomorrow something, Joe resigns. He feels like I'm not well, or my health is not good. I'm going to resign. What happens then?
Mr. Omula is very fit, but isn't he? I think he's a very
So
fit looking.
but I've no doubt that Joe will be good. It's just I'm concerned about the capacity building part of things
Yeah, cause but then again, speaking of capacity
and
building,
the
I
succession
remember
planning.
this the secretary of Mpumalanga Chess tried something like this with the regions as a secretary. That is, I mean, I think Lisamposi was is very experienced also as secretary of. He tried to create a group where he keep constant communication with all the region secretaries. I think it failed because the regions really don't care. the executives in the regions. But I think at least he was
Yeah.
trying to build capacity within the regions so that at least succession plans, there could be someone, then the next secretary would come from those secretaries. And I think it's possible for Mr. Mahomula as general, if he takes the position of general secretary, to still build capacity within the other provinces and working with other secretaries from the region, from the provinces. Don't you?
Look, I don't doubt his ability. I don't
Yeah.
doubt his ability.
Yeah.
I just look at it from a different angle. That if you've got someone young, give them the opportunity, and that's what I'm doing with schools. When I step down from schools,
Yeah.
the HOD phoned me, says, Vicky, but why? I said, sir, we need to train young people. Get the other teachers come in. Let's train them,
Yeah.
and I will be there to mentor them.
But that's
That's
something
why I'm
that I
stepping
think you
down.
guys should be doing while you are still in the position, in the role, instead of after you've left the position, then you start building capacity. You see?
No, let me tell you, Eddie. Let me tell you, Gauteng is run by women. Gauteng Schools Committee is run by women. I'm the only man on the committee, and Israel. So with two
Yeah.
guys and the rest are women. So the president is a woman, the only woman president in the country.
Nice. Are you still here? Yes.
You know, so we are doing capacity building here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now let's see. Provincial reps. There's for provincial rep one, there's Gypsy Chipunza and Sean Leviton. For provincial rep two, there's Janine Forey and Tali Bosherman. And then for provincial rep three, there's Janet Mabitsela and Women International Master Tsepang Kale.
Look on all those names you've mentioned. I think you can take Sean out of that. I don't think, my personal opinion, he should not be standing for a provincial rep. He's too highly qualified and experienced to stand for a provincial rep. So my advice to him, if he listens to this podcast, is remove yourself from that list of provincial rep.
Yeah.
The other candidates, uh, I think it's an open race. I think some of them are coming in just because they're nominated, like in the last time. I don't know if Bashoma is involved in chess. Actually, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I think she's been nominated by the camp that wants her in.
I think she was
Um,
nominated by Eastern Cape.
yeah, Eastern Cape, of course. If you look at a lot of the nominations come from Eastern Cape. Uh,
Yeah.
Joe as well. The surprising thing is Joe was not nominated by his own province,
I
nor
think.
seconded by his province. Uh, so that was interesting for me.
No, it's interesting. Does that mean that your province does not have a right to vote for you now that they did not
No, they
nominate
can.
you?
Their province, there's horse trading going on. It doesn't mean a given that any of the candidates will come in.
Yeah.
But I think people should realize that when you vote, you don't vote for a friend. You vote for the person that can do the job.
Yes.
Right
Yes.
now, people are voting for friends, and we want this group in, and we want that group in. And that is
Yes.
why Chess South Africa, for the past years, have never progressed. They're still in they're still in a rat hole. They're not coming out of it because they're too afraid to take chances to vote for people who know what they're doing.
Mm, mm, mm. Do you know
It's
Gypsy?
about all about friendship.
Do you know Gypsy
Gypsy,
Chipunza?
Gypsy is from NMB. I've met her a couple of times, but I don't know her abilities. I don't know what she can do. I have no clue. So that's an unknown entity. I
Do you know
cannot comment
Janine
on that.
Forey?
Janine Fourie, I know she's from Northern Cape. I've worked with her a couple of times from Gauteng's perspective. Where they would ask me for things and I would work with her on these things, on policies and things. So I think she's a very smart woman. I think she's very capable. I've seen her work, and yes, it's a person I would recommend
Seen her work, though. You
for
see,
the
it's
provincial
weird.
rep.
It's kind of weird when we say we're speaking of people from provinces that seem dead in a way, and then looking at bringing them into the executive board of Chess South Africa, because what stopping them from making a difference in their provinces before they come in? Because if they have something to offer, why shouldn't they offer it to their provinces, make a difference there, and then come to the national executive?
No, look, Correct. Like I said, I know Janine, she's the secretary of Northern Cape. I've worked with her on a personal level. That's what I'm saying. From my personal point of view, I've worked with her from Gauteng side. I know what she can do, what she's capable of. But I'm not saying that, blindly just put her at national level. But I'm saying I know her work ethic and I know how she works.
Yeah, but what is Northern Cape? What's happening in Northern Cape? Is Northern Cape really alive in chess? How do we see
Northern
any?
Cape is doing well. I can tell you, President Niels there is doing a good job. Uh, they hosted what's it, bishops and what tournament?
Yeah, like they have
You
one or
know,
two events a year or three or so. That's why you don't even see any of their players in the closed as well, like in the junior closed, because in the Grand Prix
uh,
in terms of
yeah. No. If you look at the smaller provinces, Eddie. I mean, if you take Gauteng's inter-region, Gauteng's inter-region was bigger than Mzansi with 9 provinces.
yeah, I know.
So that tells you something. That the whole country put together cannot have a bigger event than Gauteng with its 5 regions.
Imagine.
So
So
so so
this
that's something.
anyway, we're not here to talk about Fori. Jeanette, Jeanette Mabitsela. Okay, Tani Poshamo, you said obviously
She's
she's the
from
director.
Limpopo, so she's on the current board. Uh,
Yes.
yes, she's on the current board. Very quiet person. I think she's also got a lot to learn. And I don't know. How Limpopo is very confident about her. She works in Limpopo with the guys there, with the committees there, and I think she's got a lot to learn, but a person who's prepared to listen and to learn.
Mm. She's from Limpopo, you say.
Limpopo, yeah.
Okay. And then Sepang Klale, Women International Master Sepang.
Yeah, Tapang has been out for a very long time out of chess, so I cannot even comment on that. Whether she's involved still, I know she had a club. She used to run a club. I don't know if she still runs the club. But like I say, we look for people to fill the positions or to go on a ticket. So that is why you'll see Gauteng only nominated one person,
Yeah.
and that was Sean Leverton.
Sean, yes. Okay, let's move on. Can we? Is it okay if we move on to speak about? Because I wanted to speak about Zimbabwe and the African Youth Chess Championships. I understand
Yes.
you were involved in that in the what in the arrangement just tell us a bit about your involvement with that event, the African
Uh,
Youth Chess Championship.
Eddie, I must tell you that uh, the executive board appointed Jeanette as the manager for the tournament.
Hmm.
So WhatsApp group was set up. Myself and Nicole was in that group, and communication started with Jeanette. I sort of helped in the background,
Hmm.
but somehow communication went all awry. She started. Uh, there was poor response. People complained of poor response and so on. And I understand Jeanette. It's the first time that she's dealing with this. And I should sit with her and say, look, do it this way, do it that way. I would do things and try and assist her. And then Nicole was involved in some way as well. Uh, but then I had to leave for Malaysia.
Hmm.
And during that time, I think everything went wrong. Everything
Okay.
went wrong. Parents started calling me and sending me messages and complain. I said, look, I will do what I can, and I try to assist where I can. But at that time, it was too far gone, where communication was to and fro, and things were just haywire. However, we then formed another group. Well, a second group was formed by Nicole.
Hmm.
I came onto that group, I think, 3 days later. But then already parents have sent stuff to her and to Jeanette, and she was liaising with Jeanette, and I came into this, and then we took over the group. I sort of tried to uh, find out what's happening with all the communications, but by then, everybody was doing their own thing, and parents were complaining like crazy on the group. So that caused chaos. But I think the crux of the matter is the payment thing. Let's get to the payment.
Yeah.
Uh, while I was away, there was an invoice sent to Jeanette by
Yes.
Zimbabwe. Now, that invoice was then sent to Carol. Jeanette sent it to Carol. And I only learned about that invoice last week. It was never shared with me or Expo. I think I never seen it on the Expo group.
When was the
So
invoice sent? What's
on the 11th of November.
okay?
So I had no knowledge of that invoice. And when I got back, I got an invoice to pay the ACC fees and the registration fees, which I then sent to Carol, and we made the payment for that. That was paid. But I had no knowledge of this invoice. And when I got the invoice, I phoned Todd. I said, Todd, did you send the invoice to her? He says, yes, on the 11th of November. And I then contacted Carol. I said, look, do you know about this invoice? And he said, yes. And he posted it. And I said, I had no knowledge of this invoice. No one even told me about it. But Carol then said to me, look, the invoice was made out for the full amount. Jeanette sent a spreadsheet through, but he was not sure if all the funds were in the account to pay.
Mm.
But he has a point. But I think also that should have been discussed with me or with Expo or with the president. It was never brought to our attention. So we had no knowledge of that invoice. And then we paid on the 25th. I sent the final list through to Zimbabwe. On the 2nd, I requested for the invoice. We still had some withdrawals at that time.
Mm.
Uh, we only got the invoice on the 4th from Zimbabwe.
On the 4th of
At that
December.
point, yes, at that point, I then we asked Carol to pay, which he did. But then Zimbabwe came back and said, look, put it into a South African bank account. It will be quicker, which we agreed to do. And then I left Carol and Todd to sort that out with the bank accounts and the payments and things. So I know Carol did make payments. Two payments went through. But the money was sitting in the bank with Standard Bank. And it only went through, I think, 3 or 4 days later,
Okay, so
which of
when
course
was the
delayed the
money meant to
payment.
be in by? When was the due date for the money for the money to be
But
paid to
this
Zimbabwe? Sorry,
before the players arrive, that's the norm.
Bef-
So say by the 5th.
it must
By the
reflect
5th,
by
the
the
money has
5th
to be
of
there.
December.
Yes.
And then you're saying
So,
there were
but
payments made on the 4th of December,
yeah. But also in between that, there was the delay of the bank accounts, the changing of the bank accounts.
which okay, so you're saying Zimbabwe wanted
So
to
we're waiting
change
for the
accounts
for
and
the South
say,
African bank account to come. Yeah.
so they made
So
an
from the
invoice.
Federation account into
Mhm. They made an invoice with a different bank account, a Zimbabwean bank account, and then afterwards they came back and
yes,
said, don't pay into
and
this.
changed it to a South African account. Yes.
So that's Zimbabwe
So
saying
I
pay
think
to
that
South
also
African.
caused a bit of a delay. That also caused a bit of a delay. But I'm not going to put blame at anybody's door for that. However, I got smashed in the media and by a group of parents, a small group of parents who then went after me and Andre and tried to make this a political thing, which of course they have the right to do. They have their opinion. They don't know the facts behind everything. Newspapers didn't publish the facts, so they ran to all the newspapers, and I just let it go because look, we did send it to our legal team to have a look and to say, look at all these articles, and we've given some facts, but I don't intend. I think parents are an important stakeholder in chess, and but you cannot also be bullied by parents.
Yeah,
And it's
but
not all the parents. I can tell you, 90% of the parents, 99% of the parents are supportive.
are supportive. Now, can I just find out one thing? You understand that what kids there are apparently kids that had to sleep in buses because accommodation was not ready when they got there.
On couches and in the foyer, yeah, on couches and things. No, we had meetings till 3 in the morning with them. We called all the time. Myself, Andre, and Carol were on the phone 24/7 with them about this.
With who? With
Uh,
Zimbabwe.
with Zimbabwe, yeah,
Yes.
and with the hotel, and with the
Mm.
hotel. But I must also say, the hotel came back with a list of complaints. They were being sworn at, they were being called names and so on, which Todd put in his report. And at that time, things were just. I think the emotions over. There was overflow of emotions,
Yeah.
and
But
things were
now,
said, and so. But we tried to resolve as much as we can. I think after 2 days, everything was normalized. Andre was there for the ACC meeting. He met with the parents. But I think also the parents took it a bit too far. Some of the parents, not all, three or four parents took it too far to then try and have Chess South Africa suspended.
No, because
Of which
I think it's a matter of accountability. I can understand that you think it's too far, it's taking it too far, but what the damage is done. Kids slept on the floors and buses, and if again, if kids no, I mean I think it doesn't even make sense that if to be stranded in a foreign country.
look, look, if it was not a good situation, we
Yeah.
felt it. We know what those kids went through. We know the trauma that we were talking to parents to on every minute during that time. Our phones were non-stop ringing, and we tried to resolve as much as we can with the ACC, with Zimbabwe, and so on. But the hotel was the one that said, no, 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 we want to see payment first. We said, look, we sent you the proof of payment. We did send the proof of payment, by the way.
Yeah, and
We sent the
apparently
proof
there's
of
been a
payment because the money is
was it
deposited.
a fraudulent proof of payment that has been sent? What's the story around that? Apparently there's
Fraudulent proof of payment.
a case
No,
opened.
no, no, no.
Yeah,
No. Just South
a
Africa
proof of
cannot be
payment that is
involved
not
in fraud.
recognized by the bank as
Look, this is a
yeah. Yeah.
these are stories made up by these four or five sensational parents, man.
Yeah.
There's no fraudulent account. That was the account that the money was deposited was the hotel's account.
Mm.
So they just felt it was easy to put it directly into the hotel's account, and it would go directly to them, and it would be resolved. So there was no fraud account used or anything.
Now again, accountability. You can't say we don't know who is to blame. Let's look at it from the start. You're saying number one, there was a on the 11th of November there was an invoice that was sent to the treasurer of South Africa, and it was not actioned.
Yeah, but look, I looked at the invoice. I looked at the invoice. The invoice is for 100, if I can remember correctly, $143,000. Now, at that
Yes.
point, parents, you must also remember that parents only got paid after on the 25th, and most of them paid in after the 25th. So,
Yes.
Carol's thing is, what do I pay on this invoice? But I think the point is, he should have shared it with us, and we could have then discussed it and say, look,
So you're saying
pay
he did
some
not
of it,
share it?
or
Are you saying he sat on it and did
I
not?
haven't seen the invoice. I've seen it last week. I seen the invoice last week.
Wait, I think this is the start of the problem. Okay, that's number one. I think you're saying number one, the invoice was received, but then nothing was done with it until what? When did it become visible? When did people start being aware that the invoice was already sent after the 11th?
I think Andre learnt about it in Zimbabwe when he was there. He did mention it to me, but I haven't seen the invoice. I only saw it last week when I requested for the invoice. Then I saw it. But
Okay.
the invoice was for the full amount, and I think in hindsight maybe he was right not to pay it, but he should have said, "Let's pay what came in. Let's see what came in, and let's pay that." You
Mm.
know,
Yes.
that should have been done.
So does that mean
Yeah.
that Chess South Africa does not have money and didn't have money except for the monies that were paid in by parents?
No, no, no. I think there was money to pay in what came in. Some parents have paid early, and I must say that. Uh, and there's probably 75% that didn't paid after the 25th.
Yeah.
So with South African people, finance is a problem. They wait for sponsors. Sponsors pay in 3 weeks later. So that type of thing, they go for government funds. Government takes the time to pay in monies. So there's all those factors that comes into play.
So now I want to understand this. Who are the key people responsible for such an event as an AYCC, or of sending a team uh, of chess players, or sending a chess South African team to Zimbabwe? Like, I'm sure there are key individuals, and I would assume you would be one of them because you are the vice president of President Two, responsible for youth. Who are the people responsible? Just like you would have an LOC if it was hosted here. Who are now the people responsible for this, who are communicated to, who blame should fall in? Number one, obviously, you are in there. Now, you can't tell me the president is out of that group. or yeah, it could be. Who are the people responsible,
Uh,
and what?
Look, basically, what happens with these events, and we appoint a manager to go for these events.
Then does that
The
mean
manager
everything
does
just goes
everything.
straight? Hmm.
The manager does everything, from registrations to hotels, advising on visas, all that type of thing is done by the manager. But Jeanette, being the first time manager, needed assistance. And like I explained to you from the beginning, things didn't go well. And she was really traumatized by all this.
But the executive board is aware of her inexperience, or was aware of her inexperience, and yet appointed her as the team manager, right? And obviously, after appointing her as team manager, knowing that she's inexperienced, you wouldn't want to jeopardize, obviously, this event and this whole outing and this whole tour. Who was now appointed as the person to assist her, to work with her? Because again, you can't say she was given everything to play the whole role alone, knowing that she doesn't have an experience, and if she doesn't do certain things right, there would
No,
be
I
fines.
was. Look, we were two. It was myself, Nicole was there assisting as well, and I was assisting. But like I said, I was away for 2 weeks. And during that time, a lot went wrong. Although I was also on my laptop most of the time, trying to resolve issues. But yeah, it just went wrong. It just went wrong. And from this side, you cannot fix things if you're not in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but I
If
mean
you are not
things.
on the ground, you cannot fix things.
But again, didn't we learn of the collapse before players went to Zimbabwe? Because you're saying when you were away, that's when things started falling apart. When you're in Malaysia, were you in Malaysia after they have went to
Yeah.
Zimbabwe or before they've gone to Zimbabwe?
Uh, that was just before I came back on the 21st of November, I think.
Hmm.
So it was during that period. But that's when I then got in and started the payment process things. And we paid all the ACC fees and everything else was paid.
Nice.
Then it was just the accommodation. But there was constant communication between myself and Zimbabwe as well. But afterwards, I think, the president of Zimbabwe said to me, look, you cannot undermine the HOD. I'm going to deal with the HOD now.
Okay.
So at that point, he was dealing with Jeanette. And I fully agree that, if you're the HOD, you cannot be dealing with someone outside the country. You need to deal with a person that's there, that's appointed for that. And I agree with you that experience is one of the key issues that created all this.
And now, as the president, Mr. Devax, and you as the vice president responsible for youth, did you not from time to time check in with Gina to say, has this been done? Because I'm sure there's a checklist of things that need to be done by a certain time, by a certain dates for things like this. I mean, I've been part of the organizing such things or being, there are certain deadlines to be met. There are timelines to everything. Was there anyone checking in with her in terms of the timelines? Has this been done because it has to be done by tomorrow? Has this been done because it has to be paid by a certain date? Has this been was
Yeah. Let me tell you, if we stuck to the timeline of payment of
yes,
the closing date of 15th November,
yes.
three-quarter of the delegation would not have gone.
Would that not have been safer? Why risk that? Why risk them?
So then you have the issue of people running to the minister and say, look, we don't get funding. We're only getting paid on the 20th, and now we've been thrown out of the tournament. And we've been disadvantaged. And then the other issue is that you will find people taking you on like it's happened now, to say that you are prejudicing our kids, you are disadvantaging our kids, you don't want us to go and participate, all kinds of things, all kinds of stories. So you caught between a rock and a hard place. So if
Yeah.
you throw out, say, 40 kids and you take 10, you're going to be in trouble. That will definitely go to the minister, and the minister will say, but why are these kids not going? Why do you? And by the way, I requested for an extension up to the 25th from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
for register for payments.
Yes. And.
So I did request for an extension when I found out that we're not going to meet that deadline.
Mm-hmm. And then did you meet the 24th deadline? Because again, failing to meet the 24th deadline would say everyone that hasn't paid by the 24th is out. And then we go with only these ones. What?
So on the 25th, I sent the final list to Zimbabwe.
Mm.
Uh, and by the way, they came up just by the way they came up with another story that there's a second list floating around, which I didn't have no clue about, or we had no clue about. A second list floating around. Uh, that was for me. That was news. I had one list and one list only, which I sent through to Jeanette and to Zimbabwe, and that was the list. So on the 25th, that list went. We then requested for the invoice, uh, and we got the invoice uh, on the 4th. But on the 2nd, we then requested for the invoice again
Of December now.
of December. Yeah.
You're requesting for an invoice again, and you
Yeah.
know
So
that
the
it
list went
takes
on the
3 days.
25th. So on the 25th, they should have invoiced us
Yes.
uh,
And,
for the list sent through.
yes. And they didn't.
So they didn't, and then on the 2nd, we reminded them, please, the invoice again. So we did receive an invoice, but the invoice was the name was wrong because the name has to be Chess South Africa.
Yeah.
You see, the invoice I think was South African Chess or something. So it was the banks will not pay if the name is not correct.
On the 25th, you say. Is that the
Yeah, the
invoice?
list went through on the 20th.
So you
Yeah,
received that invoice on the
the
25th, and the
final
only
list.
thing wrong with it was the name at the top.
Yeah, no, the invoice received from Zimbabwe at South African Chess,
Yes.
but it should reach Chess South Africa, and then we send it back and say just correct the name.
And it took them how 5, 6, 7 days
No,
before.
2 days, 2 days. Yeah, from the 2nd to the 4th. Yeah,
From the second to the fourth.
yeah.
Wait, no. Which banks would not pay? You needed to. Did you need to submit? Is it because of the size of the amount that you
So
needed to
remember
go to the
how
bank
banks
and
work.
submit?
Banks
Yeah.
work that yeah, banks work this way that you submit an invoice, they pay according to the invoice.
So
And
now
if the
just
name is wrong, they will not pay.
I think my question is whether this was not a mere bank transfer, what a cell phone transfer thing with an approval from other
No,
signatories.
sir.
It had to
You're
be.
talking a 1 million rand.
Yes.
You're talking a 1 million rand. You can't. It's not a bank. It's not a phone transfer
Yes.
because there's a process that you follow with international transfers. There's rates that you have to look at and all that type of things.
Yeah.
So there's a whole process to get that through to the bank. And if the invoice is not correct, they will not pay it.
So there was that challenge as well, and it took Zimbabwe 2 days
Yeah.
to just make that simple correction.
Yeah, so we received it, and but I must say, Todd has done his best on that side. What he could. Yeah, I really can't tell you more than that. If I was there, it could have been a different story, maybe.
Why? How?
Uh,
How would it have been different if you were there, Vicky?
I could have done something different. With my experience, I could have done something different. I could have tried make a plan or do something, get Todd or get someone to do something. I would have thought about something. But
But
with Jeanette, I mean, she was just overwhelmed with all this.
but then now you would have done something when you if you were there in person that you couldn't do while you were here in South Africa over the phone.
Look, from this side on the phone, you cannot. On the phone, you can say certain things, but whether it's done or not is a different story. We would uh, we had many meetings with ACC and with Todd during that period, that 3 days, and we said, please, can you just accommodate these people? We'll sort out everything tomorrow morning. Just accommodate them. We'll make sure that things are sorted out. So Carol even went to the banks to try and see if the money has been released and so on. We've done all that, but we just said, don't mistrust us. That's the thing.
Mm.
The money is there. There's the proof of payment. Your money will come through. But I think there was a mistrust about the money coming through.
Yeah, but then that's not a matter of who is the head of delegation. It's a matter of who is the head of Chess South Africa. I think it's the lack of trust in South Africa than in Jeanette herself. Wouldn't you say? Because she was there representing South Africa, Chess South Africa.
Yeah, look at it. No matter how you put it, inexperience was the problem. You can put it any way you want.
I'm trying to understand
Uh,
how
I
exactly
think
that inexperience now affected things. Because again, I'm sure whenever she faced challenges, she called Chess South Africa, or she called you, or she called Andre, or she called who else? Just someone.
look, there were three of us on the phone immediately when we heard about this. We were on the calls immediately with this issue. We were having thought on meetings all the time. But I think the mistrust was from the hotel to say that although you send us a proof of payment, we're still not going to release the rooms. And I think there was also limited number of rooms at the one hotel. From what I could gather, they could only give us a certain amount of rooms. So I think there was a mistrust from the hotel side to say that if we don't receive the money, we're not releasing the rooms. But there are people that got rooms. It's not everyone. There are people that got rooms.
Hmm. Yeah, no.
So it's not everyone that was affected. There were 25 rooms allocated out of the 40.
Out of the 40. So now I want to understand something. Now that the damage is done, now that this has happened, what is Chess South Africa saying or doing? Because it seems like it's this whole matter is being kept private between the affected parents and Chess South Africa. But then I want
No,
to
it's,
understand, don't you?
yeah. Look, we did put out a letter. We are engaging Zimbabwe to refund the parents who have spent money.
Mm.
So that process is ongoing. Hopefully, we can conclude it very soon. And we had a meeting with the ACC and with Zimbabwe to talk about the refunds. They are looking at case by case
Mm-hmm.
where people will be refunded. Obviously, there was one parent who claimed $1,100 US dollars
Okay.
for 2 nights, and they came back and said, "We don't know where he stayed. He must give us, the receipts where he stayed." Because this claim of $1,100 for 2 nights, you pay in Dubai, not here.
Yeah.
But there is ongoing process. They're looking at case by case to refund the parents. So and we fought with them to say that the parents must be refunded.
And what of those ones? Because now you're refunding those that could afford to pay, that still had some money with them, except for. And what of the ones that actually all of their savings went into paying for this event, and now they are there, they have nothing, and they ended up probably sleeping on buses, sleeping on. How do you now
No,
what do you do for because they didn't sleep for the 2 nights that they didn't sleep? Is there any refund in terms of the money that was not they didn't use
no,
any of
but
the
they
money?
no, but everybody, whatever they have spent. Remember, there were parents also that booked on bookings.com at the same hotel.
Yes.
So there were parents that did book. And by the way, we also sent, I think it was 30,000 that Carol sent through to assist parents with accommodation that couldn't afford it.
Okay, so the parents
So
were
30,000 was sent to Zimbabwe to say assist the parents.
okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
so there was that.
So there was
So there
action
was
at
that.
least.
We
Yeah.
filled that vacuum.
Yeah. No, because again, we're not aware of these things that you have done. We are only okay. Not that I mean, we again, the parents are speaking out. They are sharing their side of the experience of the story, but
Yeah,
we're not hearing anything from Chess South Africa. South Africa is too
yeah.
hush about this, and I understand. I don't understand why, but then I also think it's important because we need to know what South Africa did, what sort of actions were taken. You've just mentioned something very important here that you sent out 30,000 rands to try and assist some parents, which is a very good, I mean, a very good gesture. That's being proactive in terms of dealing with the crisis. But then now, why now the silence from Chess South Africa? Why is Chess South Africa not trying to address this with the general public and only trying to keep it between them and the affected parents? Because even if you are not there, you are still somehow affected as a parent or even as a player because you still also need to trust Chess South Africa going into the next event, don't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, we are going to put out a statement once we conclude with the refunds and things. So that's at an advanced stage. A letter was posted to the parents, on the progress. But
Yes.
we just want to get the refund sorted out, and I think that's the sole issue here is to get or the critical issue is to get the refund sorted out.
Yeah. No,
You know,
I'm surprised because I
so
think there used to be
we
some
want parents to get the money that they spend.
in Chess South Africa. I remember there used to be some people who were very vocal about the say is it safety. What do we call this child safety?
Safety,
Eh?
safeguarding.
Safeguarding. There were people that were very vocal in South Africa about safeguarding the interests of children of players who are young and so. But now they are very quiet because it affects them and they are part of the structure that is responsible. Why the sudden drop in that safeguarding
Now, look, parents are
ambassadorship?
always vocal. There are a lot of parents vocal
Now, but I mean members of Chess South
about
Africa,
a lot
not
of
from the
things.
executive board, who were very strong. I
You
mean,
know, Eddie, I don't even want to go to that because members of executive board were sending parents email addresses of CESCOC and say, get Chess South Africa suspended.
hmm.
You know, so you in the same house as everyone else, and you want to burn the house down. You know, so that type of thing. You know, so but you know, I just hope that this thing will be resolved. The refunds will be done. You know, we are sorry that this has happened with the African youth. And to be honest, I don't know if Zimbabwe was really ready to host it. I can't say. But you know, Todd went out of his way to try and assist as much as he could to resolve the issues.
Mm. But I came across this from. I don't know if you've seen it, cause under a minute. I think I'm gonna run out of time from this. Okay, now has there been any action against those that are deemed responsible? Because I know there are letters that have been written by parents to Chess Africa to take action against individuals, including yourself. Has there been any meetings around that from the executive or the council?
Firstly, Eddie, parents, there was a meeting in Zimbabwe with Andre,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I think there was a decision was reached and so on, but the parents requested that I be removed, I be suspended. Uh, Tell me what have I done wrong? Send me to an inquiry, send me to a commission. Let me appear and you know, let me be questioned like
Are
you're
there any
questioning me
plans for
now.
that? Are there any plans of an inquiry, or is it just a promise that was made to parents to shush them? Hey, brav, shapuja. Hey, go blap. Ngikhale first break ngethuko 21 ngiyalibona licala nini namuhla eh ngilayitanga ma straight. Okay, all right, sure. Vicky,